Welcome to the People Chronicles Storied Women. My name is Anna Rose Ingarra-Milch, and I am your host. I am also the reigning Miss Pennsylvania Senior America 2016. And today my guest is Nannette Swanson. Nannette is Miss Pennsylvania Senior America 2011. And so she's going to share her story with us today. Thank you, Nannette, for coming.
I'm glad to be here.
Good. Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you one question.
Okay.
What is it that you want our viewers, our listeners, to take away from our chat today?
Well, unconditional love. That's been on my heart and been on my mind for a while because growing in a dysfunctional family, which they say, well, everybody has a dysfunctional family, I've had to, look beyond faults, mistakes, clashes, disappointments, and just love my children and my grandchildren, my sisters and my brothers unconditionally. So that's what I want to relate to the audience. Unconditionally love, unconditional love.
Yeah, so is this a work in progress?
I'm practicing it. It's a work in progress. It's probably going to take a lifetime because since I have been practicing it, it seems like the things have been coming up like, I said, I really got to love that person. And I got to do it unconditionally, so I refer to my scriptures because I am a Christian and I love the Lord. And, his commandment is to love thy neighbor as thyself and first love him. So God loves me unconditionally. He looks beyond all my faults. And I have so many faults. So, I want to be Christ-like. I want to be, what his word says I should be. And
so have you always been at this point in your life? That you trying to practice unconditional love, or was there a point in your time where you kind of transitioned into it, dawned on you, or? I'm
just transitioning into it now.
Oh, now?
Yes.
So you basically knew it this?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. I love, people say, I love you, you love them, but unconditionally, you feel like you have to love your children.
Okay, so teach me a little bit about what you mean then by unconditional love.
Unconditional love?
Yes.
Like I asked 5 of my grandchildren, I said, well, what does unconditional love mean to you? They 11, 12, 17, 2 of them 17, 12, yeah. And they said, limitless love, loving unconditionally, loving no matter what mistakes we make, loving no matter what. So I just wanted to see how they felt about unconditional love. So, and I want to love because the world don't have enough love. And, we have all kinds of situations, all kinds of people, there's all kinds of everything going on. And, I just want to learn how to love and know how to love, because it comes back to you.
Yeah,
I feel it comes back to you.
Yeah. So how many grandchildren do you have total?
I have 8 grandchildren.
So you've got a lot of love in your family.
Well, they say they love me. They call me Nan the Aviator or something like that. It's some kind of name they give me because, I'm pretty strict with them and I discipline them. So they call me like, one of those characters, I guess. Those,
I know what you mean. Yeah, like... Yeah.
It's funny, whatever he says. I don't even know how to say it like he does, but yeah, they know that, they have to be pretty disciplined when they're around me.
Yeah.
Because I don't take no stuff.
So have you so you were saying that you're just starting to really get into this unconditional love, to really learning what it means to unconditionally love. I think, I read this thing from Martin Luther King, and he says, unconditional love will have the final word.
Okay.
I've heard that. And I was just like, I think that's it. That is the word.
Right.
That's the final word. It's the end. Unconditional love is the end of it all. Yeah. So, so when did you, or was there a specific situation that made you say, now is where I really need to be starting to practice this unconditional love? Because I'm assuming that up until a certain point in your life, you were still a loving and a kind person.
Well, that's what they say.
That's what they say. But you didn't believe that?
Well, I fall short many times,
Yeah.
People don't know what's really in your heart or what you're really thinking,
Yeah.
But sometimes you just go along, and hug and you say, yeah, I love you, But love is an action word, You can say it as much as you want, but until you show somebody, that you love them, it's an action word.
I like that. So then when you're talking about unconditional love, you're really talking about doing something, about showing something, I should say. You show unconditional love.
Regardless of their faults, if they're down and out, regardless of anything, just loving them in spite of, because that's what God does for us, in spite of.
In spite of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me then, when do you make the transition from just loving or going through the motions to jumping into, now I think it's time for me to really start practicing unconditional love?
Well, it's Christ's spirits live within me, and He directs me.
So how long have you had this openness to, because that's an open, you'd have to be open to receive it, to receive Christ. So when are we talking? And last? So
well, when you asked me about this, being on this program,
right,
and I thought about the topic, unconditional love, that's when I really thought about it.
Really? So,
yeah.
So 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So then I start putting it into practice to make it real to me, unconditional love. And things have been coming my way that I had to say, well, I got to love that person regardless or unconditionally. I can't, who am I to judge? The Bible tells us, don't judge lest you be judged,
Sure.
I'm not perfect. So I had to start practicing it. And when you start practicing something, that's when the things come up in your face, and you got to really show, well, I still have to love them regardless of what they do to me or what they say to me.
Right.
So I'm practicing it every day because I'm more conscious of it now. I'm making my mind conscious of it, because I really do want to love people, And I'm not the huggy, kissy type person. I have siblings. I had 7 in my family. And, we were close, but we weren't like huggy, kissy. My mom raised us and stuff. I knew she loved me, but, she provided for me, but she didn't hug me and kiss me and, stuff like that. So I was raised, without a lot of affection like that.
Outward affection.
Outward affection, yeah. But I have this one daughter of mine, my oldest daughter, she's very affectionate. She wants to hug and kiss, and I'm pushing her away. Because she wants to hold on too tight, So I guess it's something that you're raised you have these little situations that things in your mind or something So
when your daughter does that, or initially,
yeah.
What are you thinking is going on? What's going through your head?
Well, she's the loving type. She's 50 years old. Yeah. She's over 50. She's over 50. Yeah, she's over 50. This is amazing. And she's squeezing me and grabbing me and stuff, and I'm taking it and stuff. But sometimes I want to just push her away and okay, you're holding me too long. Let me go. So yeah, that's a feeling I get sometimes. So yeah. I guess, I don't know.
Was she like that as a little girl too?
She's always been affectionate, yeah.
So if your mom, if you're not seeing that modeled at home, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get a daughter who said that I think that would almost blow your mind. It says what the heck is going on over here?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, she always knew she was loved, as a child.
Yeah.
I dressed her the best, and well, of course I have 4 children. But she was born out of wedlock and stuff. But anyway, she always was loved and held and, cuddled and all that stuff. But I don't, maybe it's when you get older, you don't feel like they should be hugging you and stuff like that long.
Speaking of getting older, do you think that that getting older, that this aging process has really been a benefit?
In a way, yes. But not with the aches and pains that come along with it.
Of course there are aches and pains.
I said, why didn't you tell me about this? About the arthritis. And of course I heard about it in the back of my mind, but now I'm experiencing it. And it's not fun.
Yeah.
But I told one year, I said, God, I don't like this old thing. And he said, well, it's either that or you leave here. It's the ultimate.
So
I'll struggle with it,
Okay.
and try to grow old gracefully,
So what are the? But as we get older, you think we become better as a person? I mean, even with all the aches and pains, isn't there that growth that you're talking about? I mean, you're still learning, which is phenomenal. And if you would share how old you are, would you share how old?
I'm 71.
71.
Yeah.
You're
72 in September.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And so there's that, and you talk still about learning.
Yeah.
There's something more for us to learn,
Always.
Always, yeah.
Always,
to learn
yeah.
how to love, how to really do it right.
Right.
It's amazing.
And that'll be to the day we die.
Exactly.
Because, there's going to be all kinds of situations that come up, hard things. I was listening to another queen of mine, another friend, and I thought I had it hard when I was coming up. And I thought I had some hard situations, but she said, well, what would you do? I said, well, that one, I don't even know. I don't even know how I would handle that, because some people go through some hard situations.
They do.
And people rejecting you and slamming doors in your face and stuff like that. I don't even know how I would handle that. So
but now you know how you would handle it, don't you? You with unconditional love.
Yes.
Well,
hopefully I would know how to handle it now. So
yeah.
I'm more conscious of, I want to love. I have to love that person.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the power of age. I mean, that's to me, that's where that comes from. That age is an asset. It teaches us.
Yeah.
It teaches us that
Well,
value.
my spiritual background and my God-fearing background, that teaches me too.
Excellent.
So, I'm very active in my church, and I love God, and I want to please Him.
Well, I think you're doing a good job at that, isn't it?
I'm trying my best.
If I get to pass judgment, I think you're doing a really good job.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. Thank you for following Storied Women on the People Chronicles. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The People Chronicles, and you won't miss any stories.
These community stories are made possible in part by BCTV, Susie Ray Design, Queen City Family Restaurant, Lamar Advertising, Heidelberg Family Restaurant, Reading Air, Lions and Hole, Peanut Bar, and Kutztown University.